So that was our little money maker. Our tomatoes were worth more per acre. We often would reach 80,000 an acre, but we had so much invested in those tomatoes before we even started to pick them. The production of the plants, the trellising them, we had basket weave. That's a lot of labor to go out there and care for them. If we were to lose those before we harvested them, we would have actually lost a lot of investment. And they were higher risk. They're sensitive to fungal diseases, and we have humid climates, so we have to take special precautions for that. And the chance of losing them, I've never lost a kale crop. I have lost tomato crops or had low tomato crops. And the irony for us on tomatoes, when the weather's perfect and everybody's got tomatoes, I don't make any money on tomatoes because everybody's got them in their yard. But those bad years where it's hard to grow tomatoes, that's when I really can make money on tomatoes because I'm a professional. I know how to get them through the bad stuff. So I always found that to be very interesting. But look at winter squash and sweet corn. They don't pay high dollars per acre compared to some of those other crops we grow, but I can completely mechanize them. I can plant them with a seeded planter, so I can go out and plant 12 acres of squash in a couple hours and cultivate it and put some soil building crops in the middle, living mulches, and I don't really do much anything in there until we go and pick it. And I can sell a lot of it. It's actually, that winter squash at 6,000 to 9,000 acre is just as profitable as those tomatoes at 40 to 80,000 for me because I'm mechanized. But if you're a small farmer and you got 3 or 4 acres and you're trying to grow sweet corn, you're just not going to gross enough per acre to make it. So if you're a small farmer, you really have to be sure you're getting that top dollar for your product unit and making the most of it, whether it's through value added, through branding, through quality, all sorts of different value added that we can talk about. And you have to make sure these crops really match what you're doing. These 11 are the top in my market for this one particular store sales items by dollar. I asked this buyer to give me the list of his top 10, what he sells. And that was the list in that order that he gave me. So that gives you a sense too in that I was after the main crops that I could sell a lot because of my market. But if I was a really small farm and I wasn't mechanized, I wouldn't have gone after these crops. I would have gone after specialty melons, or I would have created a niche as a specialty farmer, and it would have looked very different. So I think I've kind of pounded that in enough that you really need to match all of these components. What crops you grow, what market you sell, how you develop, what values you add, really based on this synthesis of who you are as a farm, the land, the people, and the business. And we talked about that well, that dollars per acre is going down as you sell to these different markets. So I wanted to talk a little more about money. I mentioned earlier that we in our community were able to develop what we considered a fair local price. And we weren't expected to play the national price yo-yo game, which can just be all over the board. And if you're looking at like a California farmer who may be in the market for the majority of the year, if they lose money for a couple months, they're going to make it up in a month where the prices are high, because sometimes the national price is below their cost of production and sometimes it's above.